I don't know why, but people who lives EFF, they then sound less intellectual. I don't know why. I don't know, maybe it's because when they were in EFF, they're saying something else, and when they move from EFF, they say something else. Then that on its own, because they are contradicting themselves from the statement they used to say and the statement they currently say, it makes them to sound less intellectual or what. But most of people, if not all, who left EFF, they sound less intellectual. I'm going to talk about the likes of Abo Andile Mketama. I'm talking about the likes of Abo Mandisa Mashiho, Floyd Chivambu, Dalimpofu, Kenny Kunene, and a lot. The list goes on and goes on. Even mention people like Abo Vusi Koza, political tourists. Yeah, but all of them, when they leave the EFF, they then sound less intellectual. So today we're going to be focusing on one of them, which is Mandisa Mashiho. We will be looking directly at the life of Mandisa Mashiho, because the statements that are said by Mandisa Mashiho lately, like, they are questionable. Like, she's someone of questionable character. Today, as we speak, we can define her as someone of questionable character. And someone will ask, why can you say we can define Mandisa Mashiho as someone of questionable character? It's because of the things that she's saying. She's against the black community. She's against black men. And she's trying by all means to give black women standard, and by putting the standard of black men down. So instead of uplifting a black woman up, she decides to drop down a black man so that he can be in the same level with black women. But we're going to discuss most of the statements that Mandisa Mashiho have said. By the way, hello and welcome to Letu's Daily News. My name is Letu. You are watching the Hot Politicking, aka Intellectual Digestion. Here, that's where we digest politics on an intellectual level. So please have the highest comprehensive skill to understand whatever we are discussing on Letu's Daily News. Mandisa Mashiho have said multiple statements that are really questionable. For a black woman to stand up and say such statement, really, honestly speaking, I don't know what to even say, guys, but I feel disappointed. That was disappointing to hear someone like Mandisa Mashiho bullshitting black men to that extent. So Mandisa Mashiho said that black people, they are not good in governance. Everywhere they take over administration, they destroy and they steal. They even romanticize stealing to an extent whereby she spoke about Itala Bank and VPS Bank. And my question is, as much as Mandisa Mashiho speaks of companies that were destroyed by black people or by a black man, I don't know why she's so quiet about companies that were destroyed by white men. I'm talking about the Steinhoff that looted people billions. People lost billions in Steinhoff. I'm talking about the likes of Abu Marcus Euster. You understand? She's not telling us about those people who destroyed big institutions in South Africa. She's not telling us about them. She wants to tell us about people that destroy just these smalanyana institutions like Itala Bank and VPS. Come on, take us serious. The big institution here with over 200 billion that were led by white people, and they were destroyed and people lost monies. You can't tell us about that. There's Bosasa. You can't tell me. If you were to mention VPS, don't forget Steinhoff and Bosasa. So to prove that even white people, they're not good in governance, SIA was never destroyed by a black man, a black CEO. So please don't put us into a corner. ESCOM was never destroyed by a black CEO. It was never destroyed by a black CEO. So if you want to say that, get your facts right, get your facts correct before you make such a bold statement that black people are not good in governance than white people. Get your facts correct. We want people to come and get their facts correct before they can come and claim whatever statement that you are making now. You can't make such a bold statement with less investigation, investigation strategy and capacity.
And you call them racist because they are pointing out a fact. They're pointing out an algorithm. You must be able to identify a trend. Say, but this is a trend. Okay, after acknowledging it's a trend, is it a positive trend? Is it a negative trend? That's how you develop and you change and you innovate. Every Anywhere a black person takes over an administration, a governance, a company, anything, you can look at all the BE companies where that were majority black run, right? Look at Itala Bank, look at VBS, look at the entire government, look at all municipalities, look at all provincial governments. You destroy. You destroy, you plunder, you steal, and you even romanticize the stealing.
I don't know. I'm sorry, because you will feel like we disrespected you. As much as you said you left politics because they were these kids that were disrespectful, yet calling it radical.
You know why I left politics? Because I partly got tired of the toxicity of a population, a group of young people who were disrespectful, thinking that they are radical.
Insult. Ooh, okay, let's not go there.
Insulting people on the basis of what they look like.
Yes, in
No, take us serious. That's what you left with. That's why you left politics. So that is why I'm apologizing. Not because whatever you said is right. It's wrong. It's wrong to undermine black people like that. It's wrong to undermine black men like that. That black men, they romanticize stealing. They destroy everywhere they lead. What's that? And as a black man, I must come and clap hands, because when I will then say, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That black, young black people, they disrespect and then they call it radical. No. That's not how the system works. No, that's not how it works, Mandisa. That's not how everything works. That's not how everything works. You stood so low to an extent of saying white kids are not disrespectful to their parents.
Because I can guarantee you, abantwana babelungu are not disrespectful to their elders. They might speak freely, but they are not disrespectful. Must not misinterpret it as disrespect. Nina, nithathe isilungu nasidlulisa. Thina sikhule sishawa. Sikhule sazi ukuthi awukhulumi the way uthanda ngakhona nomuntu omdala. Sikhule sazi ukuthi umuntu omdala uhlonishwa nje automatically. You might feel that's toxic, but we also got the rewards of.
You can guarantee us that. That's not true, man. That's not true. It means you have never lived with white people. That is why Ovin Unota didn't believe that. Unota refused to buy to that scalem, that white people are not as disrespectful as black kids. Like, honestly, you can't make such a bold statement. You can't. You can't, Mandisa. You can't make such a bold statement. Just because you're an elder, we must not question statements that you're saying. That's not how things work. If you're going to speak a political statement, be rest assured that as young as we are going to counterattack your statement if it's not legit, if it's not truthful. We're going to come and counterattack your statement. We're going to state facts out of the myth that you're busy circulating, because you're circulating a myth that doesn't have basis. And whenever you circulate a myth, and we allow you to circulate a myth on basis that you're a woman and you're old, then it means, in other words, we are promoting that let women lie, let women be misinformed, let them spread a wrong narrative on the ground, and we don't do anything of substance. We are going to question some of the things that you say, because you're not alpha and omega of whatever that is happening. So if you say lies, we've got the audacity, we've got the energy, we've got the facts that we can come and counterattack your statement with. So please, for future purposes, try by all means that when you are speaking something, you investigate, you make your research, and ensure that your statement is factual, so that we cannot question it, so that we cannot come and counterattack it. When we come, we say, Mandisa Mashego, it's right for saying this and this. By the way, the statements that you're saying now, it's contrary to the gospel you used to preach before. You're telling us that the egos of black men, they are too high, and the self-esteem is too low instead of the vice versa. That's what you're saying. You're even telling us that white men prefer to do business with black women than doing business with black men, because black men's ego, it's fragile. That's what you classify black men.
The white man is laughing at you. And let me tell you, white men are not laughing at black women. I'll give you a small secret. White men even prefer to do business with black women. There's a study that was issued. There's a conversation that Johan Rupert had. I don't know whether he had it on Power FM or another platform.
Yeah, it was the chairman's conversation.
Yes, and he was very accurate. But because black men, your egos are so fragile, you are inverted. That's what I call it. I call it an inverted psychological state of being. That's my own analysis. It's not there's no psychologist that did a study.
Okay.
Your egos are too high and your self-esteems are too low. It should be the other way around. Your self-esteems must be high and your egos must be very low.
So,
and then we must keep quiet as black men, because when we respond, it's going to be wrong to you. That's the reason why you left politics. No. That's not how things work, my sister. That's not how things work. Isn't asebenzi kanjalo. Akusebenzi kanjalo. We're going to respond, even if you can come and tell us that's the reason why you left politics. We don't care. We don't care. We didn't force you out of politics. You left politics voluntarily, as much as you joined voluntarily. So you volunteered to join, you volunteered to leave. That's none of our business. That's none of our damn business. So whenever you're saying statements that are untruthful, we are going to counterattack them. We are going to refuse to be subjected to lies and statements that are no longer factual. We're going to refuse. And I'm sorry if that's going to hurt you. But that's the truth of the matter. We cannot succumb to lies. We can never succumb to lies. Forgive us if we're moving in the wrong side of you. That's not intentional. We don't do things intentional, more especially being on the wrong side of people. But we always try by all means that we're on the right side of the truth. We try to be on the right side of the truth. So please, Mandisa, make sure that whatever you say, it's factual, so that the reason you left politics cannot follow you even after you left politics. Because if you say statements that are inaccurate, I get the reason that you left politics for. It's still going to follow you. And I don't think that's what you want at the moment. I don't think that's what you want. So that's all I'm trying to say here. With as much as you don't want what you left politics for to follow you, ensure that you speak facts. You told us that black men, they mistreat women. In fact, you said white men, they treat black women better than what black men do to black women. That's not true. That's a lie.
Nina Madoda, the biggest mistake you make is to undermine women. Especially black men. Do you know, let me tell you, do you know white men treat us black women better than you people do?
No, they don't.
Are you a woman?
No.
Are you
I'm
a black
man.
woman?
I'm a man. And I grew up with whites. And the thing is this, is that our sisters, because going to the white society gives you economic benefits, they think that they're being treated better. But you're not being treated better.
So
you're telling me it's a white man who uses you as a maid, a white man who doesn't see you fit to be in an office, in executive office, a white man who always contests you whenever you want to execute any position because they don't believe in women leadership, more especially black women. Then you come and tell me that that kind of a white man loves you better than a black man? Like, really? Is that how you think every day? That mindset is the one that you use every day, every day? No ways. No ways. And even Julius Malema told us that no one leaves the EFF and succeed politically. And I've seen them. None of you have succeeded. You all tend to be political clowns. Political Popeyes.
All those who leave as high-profile leaders of the EFF, very soon they dwindle into nothing, into insignificant.
Yeah.
And they all, I can tell you now that in the 11 years, there's no single person who got expelled from the EFF or left the EFF and never begged to come back. Yeah.
Do you anticipate that it might happen again?
It's going to happen. It's the most likelihood. There's no single person in the 11 years of the EFF. There's no single person who has ever left the EFF and succeeded politically.
not one. You can name all of them. They not a single, even the ones you are talking about now. Me and you will come back to this podcast and you'll be asking me, are you not feeling sorry for them?
And if that statement is offensive, I'm really sorry. Because you will come back and say, that's the reason why I left politics. But you guys come and be political failures. You failed drastically and dismally politically. Because you don't have anything of substance. The EFF shields you. It shields you. The EFF shields you. The EFF shields you. The EFF protects you. That is why Julius Malema says here, one person, he is still bleeding because he lost a fighter in you. Tell the people of South Africa that you didn't leave EFF because when you were tired of whatever. You left EFF because you lost when you were contesting Marshall Dlamini to be an SG.
Different view. You know, a comrade of mine that I've lost and my heart still bleeds is Mandisa Mashio. How she put up her name to contest Marshall Dlamini. It was a comradeship. I've not seen anything wrong with that. Because if I had, I would have reached out to her that you comrades are now engaged in shenanigans that are not in line with what the EFF represents. So when they said Mandisa Mashio is standing for position of Secretary General, of course I supported Marshall Dlamini. And I was very close to Mandisa. I did not see a need. The same way I was close to Danny. Never saw a need to say to Danny, don't contest Floyd. Or Mandisa, don't contest Marshall. I always knew it is well within their rights to do so. But I knew they won't win. But what excited me was the manner in which they've done it. In a comradeship spirit, in a manner that when the conference finishes, we can still sit together at night, immediately after conference, and have drinks together, celebrate the outcome of the conference together.
Tell them that you contested and numerically were underneath. Atila nawe conference. Njengoba yenza kubomgqithama nani. Atila nawe conference EFF. Njengoba yenza kubodala impofu. Atila nawe conference EFF. Conference EFF leyo kuwe. Yakusebenza conference EFF. But I understand. That is why Julius Malema said he's still bleeding. And the problem is that you didn't tell him when you were leaving. He was going to try to talk to you that you must not leave. But honestly speaking, please, siyaqela ngomoya wokukholwa nokuthula. Yekela ukuspread amanga. Yekela ukuspread amanga. When you were one person who said EFF is the only honest organization, is the only socialist movement, is the only genuine organization, is the only organization ran and led by black people, is the only organization against GPV and racism, is the only organization that can deliver the promises of Nelson Mandela, is the only organization that is anti-corruption, is the only organization that wants to create jobs, is the only organization that wants to deal with African dictators. But today you have changed the tune for bread. For bread. So I hope and believe, Sister Mandisa, that you change and speak something of substance.
We are going to win because even you are going to vote for us. Why? Because the EFF is the only honest organization. It's the only genuine organization. It's the only socialist organization run and led by black people, run and led by energetic black people who want to see a united and borderless Africa without poverty, who want to remove African dictators. It starts in South Africa. Our people must not be narrow-minded. We are starting a big project. They need to give us government here in South Africa because it's only through state power that we can stop corruption, that we can prevent another Marikana, that we can prevent black-on-black violence, that we can stop men from beating black women, that we can stop white men from abusing black women and black men in the workplace. And so here today, we are here to consolidate the gains of a lot of hard work we've put in. Women are coming to the EFF in droves because we have put in extra effort into working in those constituencies. elderly black people are saying they now understand we are not crazy kids, that we actually want to deliver on Nelson Mandela's promise, that we want to deliver on the promise to give back the land of our forefathers, and to make sure that anyone who's not part of that project can feel free to go where they want, because we are going to use our mineral and natural resources to deliver those jobs after taking back the land without corruption.
I hope and believe you do. By the way, that's all I wanted to say. That stop spreading lies. Stop spreading lies. Stop being against black people. No matter how hard you can try, you are black by origin. You will never be white. God gave you that black color. Embrace it. Don't destroy it. Don't go around rubbishing black men. That's all I wanted to say. By the way, guys, if you like whatever we're doing in this channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, like, comment, and share this video to boost the YouTube algorithm. By the way, if you have a financial muscle and you're willing to assist us, please do so. We will accept that help. Indeed, we need a proper device, guys. Also, guys, I'm so happy. We managed to hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Now I'm pleading with you. Let's go to Facebook and look for Letunjo Mane and follow that page. It has 5,300 followers for now. Go and follow that page. Let's get to 10K on that page. Then also, let's go to TikTok. We've got 99,400 followers on TikTok. Let's go and follow that page. Let's get to 100K, man. Let's celebrate 10K and 100K at the same time. Let me make something, guys. I will make something. I'll do something. I promise you. I promise you. Mwah. If you follow that page of TikTok and we get to 100,000 subscribers, and if maybe possibly at your grace you follow my Facebook page and we get to 10K, I'm telling you, Stromafanas, I'm gonna do a giveaway. I'm gonna do a giveaway here. I'm gonna do a giveaway. I don't have money, hence I'm looking for assistance. But I will do a giveaway as some sort of celebration. A celebration giveaway. I will do it. I promise you. So please, guys, let's go there and do the Lord's work. I trust you. As much as you managed to take me to 10K, take me to 99K, there's no reason for me not to trust you guys. I trust you as much as you trust me, that I will always give you a booming intellectual content. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Salute.